You know what? I've never actually played a horror game. Like ever. But no, not this time. It's Halloween. I gotta start somewhere. And what better place than a game that's been sitting in my Steam library for a long time. Well, maybe horror games aren't all that bad. In fact, I take it back. Oh no!
Now that's comedy.
So yes, even though I'm not a big horror fan, like the only horror movie I watched was when I was forced to see Paranormal Activity 2 in the cinemas, and then proceeded to have nightmares for 2 weeks straight. But 'tis the season.
In America, at least.
Yeah, Halloween ain't a big thing down here. However, with scary video games, even though I don't play them, I am very aware on many games in the genre. Whether it be through Let's Plays, analysis, or the amazing teasers and thinking, boy, I sure wish I could play that. And somehow I found this game called Tokyo Dark, an indie Japanese-inspired visual novel published by Square Enix, with an interesting premise that you're a detective and your partner has gone missing, and this girl face haunts you everywhere. Now, interesting to note is that this game was successfully kickstarted, meeting numerous stretch goals too. However, after playing through the game, it's honestly amusing to think that a lot of these features weren't ever going to be included originally, as they did work them in very seamlessly. You know, looking at their pitch, it's kind of hilarious to see how low budget it looked compared to the final product. I mean, this kind of seems like someone edited this in Photoshop, but in the game it looks so much better. Well, better in a relative sense. So you play as Detective Ito, who is on the trail of a missing partner named Tanaka. You start on board this train with this lovely face staring right back at you. So the way the game works, it's sort of a point and click adventure game, or i.e. a regular hybrid visual novel game. You move the mouse over on the screen and clicking makes Ito walk there. She moves slowly to add to the mysterious vibe, but you can make her run by tapping or holding the sides of the screen. Now to the left is Tanaka's badge, but before you can inspect the blood, Ito's boss calls you up and is like, "Oi, I know you want to find your BF, but please don't go it alone. We don't know what happened to him. He was missing and only recently his phone signal was turned on, so we don't know what kind of crazed person has him." The boss's words ring in our ears. So we go in alone anyway, where the train lets us off at the first area of Shinjuku. Also, if you're wondering why the footage is a little bit washed out, that's entirely my fault. I wanted to turn up the brightness, but didn't know how it would look here. Sorry, it's my first time playing a horror game, okay? So as you go through the game, you investigate different areas in Japan. This is done by walking near the object and clicking the option on the wheel. Wait a minute. Now, over the course of the game, you meet many different NPCs, and all of them have some part to play in the story. But a thing I have to mention here is that, firstly, the game autosaves, and you only get one save file, because secondly, there are multiple endings.
Oh yeah?
Don't worry, you get the other save files later, but I'll get to that. And I'm only bringing this up because at many points, the game will offer these mini choices, mostly with how Ito acts towards the NPCs and getting them to give her the information she needs. Take for instance the people in the bar. Okay, ignoring him. See this hostess. She really hates cops and won't tell us any information. Their game, however, offers us the choice to buy a drink to maybe get her to talk. Well, as they say, bottoms up.
Yeah, maybe drinking on the job wasn't a good idea.
And with our vision impaired, we ask her to tell us something since we paid for the alcohol. She's like, "Lol, you really did drink on the job as a cop. Haha, get wrecked." And Ito is now a sad drunk. Now I'll get into the choice dialogue a bit later on, but the game really makes you stress out at these choices you have to pick, as each action is shown in detail. Like, I sure as heck wasn't expecting her to punch out the ticket attendant, but yep. There she goes. So the bar isn't any help, and we walk further down the street till we hear a phone ringing in the dumpster.
Yeah, it sure is a dumpster.
However, it seems to be locked and we can't find any way to get it open. But since I guess I'm role-playing as a cranky cat cop lady, we get our gun out and blast it open. And inside, Ito finds a paper bag. Opening it, we see... tomato sauce with Tanaka's phone in the middle. We answer and the person tells us to find them in the sewer. However, there's a grate blocking it. So we go and talk to another shopkeeper who said that he's seen the perv going down the sewer with the young women. Well, that's just great. So into the bar we go and ignoring him, we talk to the hostess again. She, after a little persuasion, gives us the hint to rotate the bars on the left. So Ito does that and heads on in to find... Dude, ever heard of cardio? Further in, we see an arrow pointing down, and Ito jumps in. Ito ain't the brightest. However, we see that red-haired girl holding our BF hostage. She mentions to Ito that she remembers what we did 6 months ago. And Ito says that it's impossible, she couldn't have. Thus begins the old-fashioned standoff. Well, we're going weapon crazy, so let's bring a gun to the knife fight. The girl then goes on and on about the darkness, and a door, and a mask, and how Tanaka is the only one who can help her get there. The game then sets a timer to make us quickly choose, and I changed my mind. I decided to be a good cop and not shoot. So the girl slices our BF's throat and he's dead. Oh no. The game then flashes back to 6 months ago, in this beautiful cherry blossom town. We go on through and find this house with no one home. However, going further in, we hear the door unlock, and Ito goes back only to find a crazy granny. Oh god, no, don't give me this mask. This is where the horror happens. Oh no. Nothing happened. Anyway, we take the mask from her and head to the shrine, where we see... You really love holding people hostage, don't you, mate? This time, however, our BF is here and tries to do some hostage negotiation. Pizza. Pizza.
Margarita pizza, are you crazy?
It's all about that super supreme, baby. Well, the redhead girl whose name is Raina doesn't like super supreme pizza and is getting more and more angry, as it seems like our BF promised to take her to this door place. But due to us holding the mask, this overwhelming power envelops us, giving Ito no choice apart from shooting her. And so, Raina is dead, which kinda makes it odd that she appeared 6 months later. Ito, causing her first casualty, is at the hospital due to traumatic shock. The nurse, instead of helping us, is like, hey, you heard about the SPIN system? Oh yeah, SPIN, which stands for sanity, professionalism, investigation, and neurosis. So nearly every action Ito does either increases or decreases these stats. Where sanity is lowered when you see horrific events, professionalism is for how good a cop you play as, i.e. don't drink on the job, inspection is for finding clues relating to the crime, and neurosis as well. It's kind of amusing that there's a stat for the more paranoid you are, since most visual novel veterans will be deeply trained to click on everything but to get all the dialogue possible. Well, here they reward your paranoia. Well, not reward, as the higher it goes up, the more your sanity gets affected. Now you can fix your sanity at the cost of investigation points with tablets at your apartment, and you can also lower your neurosis by playing with your cat. If you're a cat lover, you'll really love this game.
Lucky for you, I'm a cat people lover.
Anyway, you can press the escape key to check up on these, and after playing through it, I will say, later on, you honestly will forget that these are even a thing for most of the endings. Like the PIN stats didn't really come into play at all, but the game sure made it seem important throughout the playthrough. So now in real time after the sewer incident, Ito finds herself alone in her apartment. Well, not really, there's the cat, and her nosy neighbor. We find that the department has been trying to suppress the information that we might have killed our BF since Raina is meant to be dead and no one else was found in that sewer. Ito's boss then calls her back to the station, and I want to say, you know, I kinda get the feeling that this game isn't as horror themed as I once thought. In fact, I would say it's as scary as Danganronpa, Zero Escape, or Somnium. Really tense with some gory bits here and there. However, the game does throw in little jump scares that I've kept out to throw you off your guard in case you do decide to play it. They are minimal and didn't freak me out too much. But yeah, from this point on, for a long time, the game actually turns more mystery than horror, as you have to uncover the case as to why Raina is alive and killing your BF. It also turns into more of a talk to person here, run to this area, pick up something, then talk to someone else, then return back to the first person, and that becomes really apparent in this place. The big plus for the game though is how stunning the environments look. They all are horizontal in a smallish area, but the background and foreground are filled with visual effects and to make you feel like you're in a bustling city or neon-filled noir streets. The music, however, is kinda hit and miss. Some tracks work so well and really set the mood, others however don't suit the tone, like the one that plays in the Yakuza den. Also, sometimes the audio just cuts off or loops really badly instead of fading out nicely into the next song. Now with the voices, there was a stretch goal for English dub, but it didn't reach its target, so there is only Japanese voice acting, and it's very minimal, with Ito saying a few words usually at the start of a new area. But back to the gameplay, there actually was a big glitch I noticed in my playthrough, which I think was caused because I changed the text to a larger font, as a few times the characters would actually move in front of the dialogue box. This however was fixed when I went through the game again, so I'm not actually sure what caused it, but man, it was so irritating. Ito, please, I know you want attention, but I need to read. And also the game doesn't have a text log feature like most other hybrid visual novels, making it kinda worse that clicking the mouse might accidentally skip to the next dialogue with no way of finding out what they said. Now one aspect that was good and bad was the character designs, because for a Western studio, the artist did a really great job of giving you that anime feeling from the female characters. But the male characters just felt different and a bit more Western styled. I mean, the art style isn't bad because some of these cut-ins are so amazing and I wish the game had more of them. But okay, to bring up back to the other aspect I mentioned, the spin feature, well, this is affected by your choices, and the important one is your sanity. So for instance, there was this cop dude who started to get on Ito's nerves, saying how she's the killer and so on. The game then gives you the option to threaten, and well, she pulls a gun on him and tells him to back down. And here I am, half laughing at how crazy this situation is. When the game says threaten, do note, it's often really violent, with Ito getting more and more insane, losing her sanity. So the whole time you're told that the spin feature will impact the 11 or so endings, but it really doesn't. All you should care about is sanity, as most of the endings I found were by a choice you had to do near the end. I mean, near the middle I even forgot that spin was a thing and just picked on things to see what Ito's reaction was to them. That isn't to say, however, the options are bad. I mean, at the start I was planning on making Ito be a crazy cat lady, but over the story, the more it developed of her character, I found myself playing it seriously because I only wanted the best for her. So then here, I'll be spoiling a few things on the main endings. If you want to go in blind to it, skip to this part in the video. I still will be cutting things out to leave it vague, but I do really need to talk about the endings. Okay, so, Ito, after heading to the station, finds that they removed her badge and demoted her, sort of to hush over the whole event in the sewer. They don't fire you, but just want to push you to the side. But Ito is still bothered by the return of Reina, as if she is alive. Does that mean her BF could still be alive as well? And this becomes her drive to continue, the fact that he might be alive somewhere. And then through some choices, we rush to the evidence locker to grab the mask, as it seems to be key to all this, as Reina was muttering things about it, and Tanaka was wearing it when he went down. Ito then goes on a long winding chase through Japan, meeting Yakuza, maid waitresses, nightclubs, and more, till she eventually learns more about Reina, who apparently was an idol long ago, like a really long while ago, where she was wandering the streets alone until she was picked up by a scummy agent who made her do things for money. Well, he definitely ain't an agent no more. We are able to see all of this because the mask actually holds some mystical powers, which leads us back to the shrine to apologize to the hostage girl Mai. She's the granddaughter of the crazy granny who gave us the mask because she wanted to be rid of its curse, and we then learn that the granny actually was part of a cult who used the mask itself on little Reina. They made her seem to be their savior and all ended their lives together in a ritual giving the mask its power, and that is to see through the dark. Because yes, Tokyo, dark. This is the darkness-like thing where it corrupts and brings out the worst in people. And deep beneath this is the door, where it is said once you open it, all the answers will be revealed to you, which is why Reina wanted to find it. So then Ito goes and finds a long-abandoned cult base in the forest, where we see how the adults just shoved all this onto the young, unsuspecting Reina. And all she remembers when she wore the mask was that her mother said to find the door. Well, the crazy granny took the mask when she left, and that's why Reina was searching for it all these 6 months. And I guess as the mask bearer, she can't die? That was never really explained that well. Anyway, most of this information is from these two crazy old men, and all I took from this on my first playthrough was that mask bad, granny crazy, cats are cute, and Ito is cold-blooded. So we reach a point where the granny is like, okay Mai, as a shrine maiden, you can perform a ritual to break the curse of the mask. And after getting one piece back from the forest, we get a choice. Do we do the ritual, or instead go to the sewer to meet Reina and see if we can bring our BF back. I, however, just wanted to get rid of that damn creepy mask and head to the shrine. Maya then performs the ritual, the game says the mask is broken, we don't know what happened to Reina, and game over. Yep. It just ends. Not really a happy ending, right? Well, that's one thing you will see from the endings. They aren't technically great for all of the cast. However, once you beat it, you can do New Game Plus. And weirdly, only now you can access the broken memories, i.e. saved points, to help you get all of the endings. It kind of feels dumb that they locked this out to force you to play through one ending, because now I had to go through the whole game again to reach that choice moment. So yes, mashing the mouse button I went. The game is mostly the same, where only at certain points, Ito will be like, "Is this deja vu?" And at the end of each time, these old men talk about how there is no one true ending and so on, acting like the gods who are toying with Ito and Reina's lives. So yes, another downside, hence the mashing, is that the game doesn't allow you to skip dialogue you've seen unlike other VNs, but then randomly it will? Yeah, I don't know why, but only some dialogue can be skipped and others you still have to mash. Plus every time you see the credits, you can't skip it, making this game very tedious to replay, hence why I didn't get every single ending. But the ones I did get, okay, firstly, while going through it again, I actually wanted to be a bit more meaner to everyone, just to see the other little options, even having Ito kill the perv in one of the choices, and well, the game has one of Ito's friends call you before the choice at the end to say, the cops are going to arrest you for that murder if you go to the shrine. I was baffled, and so to see if this was true, I went there and yep, they arrested Ito for his murder. And then with the other options, if you do go to Shinjuku, actually being mean to the characters this time made them all get bad endings. Yeah, a lot of the choices I did early on actually impacted how it ended for some characters. Anyway, we go down to the sewer to meet Reina, and here we have more options. Thankfully I saved before this, so it wasn't that bad going to see them all. One of them is to ignore her and wear the mask to see and find the door. Entering it, we find Tanaka in sort of the afterlife. Here we can have another choice to return back since the mask slowly corrupts Ito's mind if worn for too long, or stay with him forever. The other options, however, are to drag Reina physically to the door and chuck her in, ending her murderous reign. I told you Ito was cold-blooded. The other option is to instead go back up and wear the mask, becoming the new crazed killer instead of Reina. Out of these, I would say the best one is to stay with Tanaka, because apparently there's no true ending where everyone is happy. But then there was another ending that I found really shocking. The insanity one. So actually letting your sanity go to -100 by not taking any of the pills teleports you back to Ito's room after the forest section. You see on TV, Reina is now a popular idol and Tanaka is cheating on you with her, while your neighbor then comes in saying things like, "No, don't talk about them, the doctor says you shouldn't," before the game then shows us that Ito is in the mental hospital, ending with the words that she will find her BF no matter what. Yep. So yeah, a lot of these endings don't really pay off that well, but I think it says a lot that I even bothered to try and get them all, because I did feel sorry for these characters and wanted to see a good outcome for them, even though the game said, lol no. But despite all this, I did actually enjoy my time with this game. It really does feel like an indie game with some gameplay decisions that you know an established company wouldn't do. But for a first attempt, I was really impressed. The writing flowed well, the characters felt unique, the Japanese aesthetic shone through, and I did find myself enjoying many characters. Not all. And I mean, they did get me to mash the mouse button to go through the game numerous times to see more of it. I'm actually very interested to see what they do next, maybe with a bigger budget. Although there was news that the game is getting a console version with new endings next month, so maybe a lot of the technical issues can be fixed since they have to redo the game without a mouse cursor. But yes, finally I guess I beat a horror game. Although not technically, I wouldn't call it that. Let me know however if you enjoyed this kind of thing, as it's too late to cover more spooky games this month, but next year I can try to cover some more, or if there are any you think I might like, let me know below and I'll check them out for next year. And I guess to round off the scariness, let's get more of that adorable art.
Trojan, RamZaes, Magnum, Chic!